What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Today is May 21st, 2021, and we have a whole bunch of stories to chat about tonight, from the WarnerMedia and Discovery merger to updates on Spider-Man No Way Home and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This is Let's Talk Movie News. Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
And I'm not wearing any pants.
That's okay. On this show, you're allowed to go pantsless.
You're brilliant. Well, guys, my name's Miguel.
And this is Let's Talk Movie News. Whole bunch of different interesting things to talk about. The WarnerMedia Discovery merger. We're going to have a couple of updates for some movies. We're going to talk about some new projects. We're going to talk about Zack Snyder. And it's going to be a good old pantsless time.
I about said, you using your teacher voice right there, bitch. I'm not 12.
That ain't my teacher voice.
Oh, is it not?
No.
I want to hear your teacher voice, please.
No, this is basically my teacher voice.
Oh, is it?
Except with a little bit more like sarcasm, and I'm loud and funny.
Bro, I feel like, I
much.
swear, every single teacher like has a little bit of sarcasm. It's just a matter of like, however many years you're teaching, it's a level of sarcasm you have now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like fun sarcasm though. Like I try to be the fun teacher. I really do.
Yeah.
So
But like as the years go by and you get tenured, that sarcasm becomes more.
You get colder and colder.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Doing good, man.
Is it the first time we've filmed in a little bit? We didn't have an episode of our normal show last week just because of our schedule is wild.
Holy shit, that is true.
So I kind of feel like we haven't done the show in a little bit, but
I know, right?
It feels good to be back.
Yeah, man, I missed you.
I saw you on Tuesday. I did see you.
Yeah, you did.
We have to say we did see each other. We went and saw Spiral at our local Cinemark. So also shout out. We were not shout out. I guess I shouldn't say shout out. I should say shameless plug.
Okay.
I don't know why I said shout out.
Shameless plug.
Monday's episode of Let's Talk Movies, of our main show, we're going to be talking Spiral, and we're going to be talking Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which releases today, May 21st on Netflix. And I think it's in the movie theaters until the end of the weekend too. So.
Oh yeah, true. Because whenever we went to go see Spiral, we saw Army of the Dead was on there.
Yeah, we walked past the theater.
Yeah, I told Brad that I was like, "Hey, let's just do a double feature," and bro was like, "No." I was like, "My guy, we literally never see each other."
Well, I know, but I had to.
Like, it was a prime opportunity.
I wake up at 5 a.m. and I have to drive an hour. We live an hour apart, so.
And
for those of you who don't know, I got home at like 11.
Ladies, if he wanted to, he would have. Just want to let you know.
I'm married.
Live that.
All
right,
but we enjoyed Spiral. We thought it was real good, so be on the lookout for our Spiral review.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot of. I am a Saw franchise fan, so to speak.
I think you're more of a Saw fan than I am.
Yeah, let me just say, guys, this guy was very cringy at the movies. I was surprised for a horror movie guy.
I love horror, but I've never been a big torture porn fan, like Grindhouse fan. I don't know.
Torture porn?
Torture porn.
It wasn't really that.
It wasn't that bad. No, it was just the. I mean, I don't know. We'll get into that in Monday's episode. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be a good one. So let's talk some movie news. I think arguably the biggest thing we have is the WarnerMedia and Discovery merger that happened a few days ago. Have you seen anything about that?
I thought Discovery was with Disney Plus.
No. So obviously Discovery.
That's Nat Geo.
Yeah, Nat Geo is with Disney. Okay. So WarnerMedia has acquired Discovery. It's an acquisition. So basically, AT&T owns WarnerMedia, which owns Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they're becoming two parts of the same company.
Okay.
So essentially, Discovery is no longer its separate thing. WarnerMedia is no longer a separate thing. They're joining to become one, big two-sided company.
That's
Uh,
how a merger works. Yeah.
I originally
Okay.
saw this on IGN, but it's been out there for a few days now. It's on the Hollywood Reporter. It's on, comicbook.com. It's on a whole bunch of different places. And I mean, obviously, we joke about Disney owning the world because of how many companies and properties the Walt Disney Company actually owns. But AT&T is trying to compete with them a little bit through this merger. So this deal was $43 billion. $43 billion deal to acquire Discovery with WarnerMedia, and they're trying to basically overtake Disney and Netflix as the largest entertainment company. So this is, you have to think this is not just movies and TV. This is movies, television, streaming services, news, TV stations, things like that. I mean, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
But they're trying to really compete with Disney. And again, both companies are just going to be under one leadership. So, um,
It's
you
going to
know,
be under
you,
Warner Media.
well, it's going to be under the leadership of AT&T. So,
Um.
from what I understand, the CEOs of both, there will still be a CEO of Warner Media and of Discovery, but they are still underneath the top AT&T people.
Hmm.
So AT&T is really they're the ones pulling the strings with this. It's not really Warner Media or Warner Brothers. They're just attached to it basically. Um so
Bro, AT&T is like it's grown. It's like
I
it's
know.
too big. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
like
know
one of those.
AT&T owned as much as they did until like pretty recently.
They do. AT&T is one of the big five, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And when
they
guys,
are.
when I mean big five, I mean like big five like businesses or like stock. So there's Google, AT&T, Amazon, I think it's Tesla now, and someone else. I'm not
Apple?
Apple. Yeah, Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the big five. And
Yep.
like, yo, like if
They're
you
the
think
five
about it,
Infinity Stones.
yeah, we just need one. We just need
I know,
like I
you
don't
need a
know.
sixth one though.
Yeah, we need a sixth one, and then boom, there we go.
By the way, did you see Lego? This is completely unrelated. Did you see Lego is coming out with a Lego Infinity Gauntlet?
No, but would it be wearable?
I don't know,
It should be very
but I
uncomfortable.
I need that to happen.
You
I
have
need
your
one.
Infinity Gauntlet,
No, I don't. You still never gave it to me. Yeah, Miguel got me an
oh my
Infinity
god,
Gauntlet as my wedding present, and
guys.
I
So
still
yeah,
haven't seen it.
that's fucking sad. I literally
I
had a
saw it
whole
the night of
speech.
my wedding, and that was it.
Yeah, I made a whole speech with the Infinity Gauntlet, and then like I was gonna give it to him, but then like obviously he had to go on his honeymoon, so like it's not like I can give him the Infinity Gauntlet on his honeymoon. Otherwise, Julia would have been highly upset if I gave him the Infinity Gauntlet.
I would have walked around wearing it.
He would have walked around and like try to seduce her with the snap.
You want to go to dinner? Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
Such a fucking nerd.
I know. We really are.
Yeah.
So, but back to this Warner Media thing. So you have to think this is, you have HBO Max and Discovery Plus, which, as far as I know right now, and as far as we've heard, are going to stay exactly the same. HBO Max's cheaper version, which doesn't have the movies and it's ad based, will still drop whenever that. I think in a few weeks or months or something. And there'll be normal HBO Max, and there'll still be Discovery Plus. All of the news outlets, all of the sports channels, things like that, will remain the same for right now. They're just a part of the same conglomerate. So basically, AT&T now owns HBO, Discovery. They own Warner Brothers Pictures, CNN, TBS, TNT, Oprah Winfrey Network, the Food Network, Discovery
Whoa,
Channel,
whoa, whoa!
Discovery
Wait.
Channel, Animal Planet. I don't know what I'm saying.
AT&T owns Oprah. How the fuck does that happen? Oprah owns you.
They
You
don't
don't
own
own
Oprah.
Oprah.
They own. They own. They own the Oprah Winfrey Network. They own.
Bullshit.
Well,
Really?
yep.
Boy, if I'm not mistaken, Oprah Winfrey don't need ain't got to be owned by anybody. She owns people.
If the dollar bills are right, though.
That's that too. Oprah Winfrey's rich as fuck, man.
I don't know, man. It's a lot of dollar bills. But anyways, the point is, from what I understand, none of that's staying all the same. HBO Max is still going to look the same. Discovery Plus is still going to look the same. CNN, TBS, OWN Network, Food Channel, Animal Planet, Discovery, all of those are going to look exactly the same for now.
For
Um,
now.
Now, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, that might change. I think they're kind of looking into the consumer and what people want and what people want to see. Um,
Mhm.
but Discovery's CEO, David Naslov,
Good job.
he had a few interviews. Yeah, I believe that's how you say his name. Naslov, I'm not sure. He had a call with journalists, and I believe IGN reached out to a couple of people at WarnerMedia, and he tried to answer a few questions about this whole merger. And again, I saw this on IGN. IGN, I'll post the article down below. It had a lot of really good breakdowns of different things and kind of what it means for consumers. So the first thing he wanted to reiterate is right now, nothing is changing except for who owns what. Again, when you open your streaming services, it's going to look exactly the same. This is just an acquisition by AT&T because again, AT&T is trying to steal those Infinity Stones from Mickey. They're trying to get that shit away from Disney. They want to compete with them. Uh,
Wait. Who's Thanos? Did you say Mickey was Thanos? Can you imagine?
Mickey's
Oh
Thanos,
my
yeah.
god. Yeah. I can imagine that with the instead of the white glove,
Except
it's
in
like
this
the
case, we want Thanos to win.
sure. Sure, I guess. I don't know. If you had to choose like between HBO Max and Disney Plus, what would you go with?
Oh, Disney Plus.
Really?
There's far more. Dude, I don't really watch all that much on HBO Max, to be honest.
I mean, that's true.
I really don't. Like, I watched Wonder Woman 1984. That was why we got it, and I knew Godzilla versus Kong was good. I watched Wonder Woman 1984. I watched a couple of the original Godzillas leading up to when we went and saw Godzilla versus Kong, and I
Yeah.
watched Godzilla versus Kong a second time on HBO Max. I think that's really the only time I've ever used it. I watched stuff on Disney Plus all the time. It's got a broader spectrum of stuff. Like it's got all the Pixar stuff and it's got like, all the Disney stuff, but it's got like all of the old Marvel cartoons, like from when we were a kid, from before we were a kid, from after we were a kid. Like it's got so much stuff on Disney Plus, and I think that's why I like it better.
Yeah, I kind of get it. The only thing that's really grabbed my attention with HBO Max is the fact that they'll have streaming new movies like on the day of opening with like movie theaters. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think that's still a thing.
yeah, and that's we'll actually get to that at the end because I was careful in saying that as of now, the CEOs of Warner Media and Discovery will still remain in place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I never said it would be the same CEOs that stayed in place because I think they're kind of unhappy with the Warner Media uh, CEO right now because apparently he was the one that came in and did this whole theatrical release plus HBO Max release at the same time, and I think
Yeah.
that's pissed a whole lot of people off. I don't know if that's going to stick around. I think it was a temporary solution for COVID, but I don't think it's going to stick around forever. And we even talked about that in episode God, what
Something.
6? It was
Yeah.
like way early on of our main show that we were talking about the future of the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had said like I don't think that this is going to be a an all time movies are just going to come out on HBO Max and Disney Plus and stuff too now. I think that is a COVID thing.
Do you think? Okay. Yeah.
I do. I mean, I think through the end of this year and maybe even into next year, they'll use
Mm-hmm.
that business model, but I don't think it's going to stay that way forever. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Uh, he was also asked if HBO Max and Discovery Plus were going to get merged into one huge streaming service. because you have to think HBO Max is more movies and TV series. Discovery Plus, there's a lot of reality things. Like, I is Naked and Afraid on Discovery? Like, there's a,
I
but you
hope
know what I
so.
mean. Like, there's a few different more reality based shows on Discovery.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different. Like, I wonder. No, Ghost Adventures is Travel Channel. Um, Maybe Ghost Hunters. There's a couple of the paranormal shows on there. There's reality shows. There's nature documentaries and TV shows and things like that. Um, and I mean, that's a lot. Plus, again, you have to think this if they were to merge HBO Max and Discovery Plus into something else, that's not only going to have what each of those has on it, but you're going to have Food Network, you're going to have Oprah Winfrey, you're going to have Animal Planet, you're going to have TLC. I mean, there's like a ton of different things that are going to be a part of that, and that's a hell of a lot of content in a whole bunch of different directions. And all he had to say about that, and all WarnerMedia had to say about that, was that they, in the future, they'll be looking into whether or not that's a good move. But
Hmm.
again, right now, everything is going to stay the way it is. Like, I don't think this is going to like flip everything on its head and when we log into HBO Max, it's going to look completely different. I don't think it's going to be like that at all. So they're kind of they're gauging right now. They're trying to gauge and they're trying to figure out like what do we want this to look like? Do we want to merge streaming services? Do we want to take away streaming services? What do we want to do? So, what do
That's
you think
smart,
about
honestly.
that? About
I
HBO
mean,
Max and Discovery Plus like combining?
this is pretty much what's gonna happen. I kind of figured that's what's gonna happen like pretty soon because as soon as streaming service started gaining like this much ground and this much, I guess what's it called, pull with you know general audience viewers, I figured like they're like different streaming service were gonna start merging because every channel and their mother started creating their own streaming service, like AT&T, Discovery, Travel, Spike TV, which is now Paramount, and then US. Like they all have their like USA Now or blah 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 blah. Like they all started their own streaming service. And when you start a lot of those, when like as you start like all of these different types of businesses like that, the bigger ones are going to start merging with the smaller ones that are not getting as much
Right.
audience view. So that's pretty much. I kind of expected some shit like that to happen. That's usually how it goes in the business world. Like whichever one survives ends up taking over the little ones, and they start merging into like they start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then next thing you know, you have the top three, which is definitely going
Right.
to be Netflix, HBO Max, and I don't
Disney.
fucking know, Disney. Yeah, that sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think and Hulu's kind of there. I think Hulu's probably going to get merged with someone. I'm almost
Right.
certain, pretty
I would
soon.
say too. And I like Hulu. I watch more on Hulu than I watch on HBO Max.
Really?
Because
I'm not gonna lie.
Hulu's
I have
got Fear
not
the Walking
opened.
Dead. Hulu's got, I think, Breaking Bad is on Hulu. It's
Hmm.
got Fear the Walking Dead on there. It's got the X Files on there. I mean, it's got a whole bunch of different things that I watch on there. So
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't even remember the last time I watched anything on Hulu. I know little Dick. I know the Dave is on it. I
yeah,
know
I've always wanted to watch that, and I've never. Do you remember when
it's
we took the road trip? When we so this is again side note. We went to New Orleans what 3 years ago?
2000 and I don't remember.
I don't know.
2000 and I don't remember.
I think 3 or 4 years ago, Miguel and I went to New Orleans with a couple of our buddies. I think we listened to every single Lil Dicky album or song in existence on the way there.
Even the sad ones, guys. I'm not gonna
We
lie.
did.
Those were like a tough like 30 minutes.
We listened to that in Eminem, and I don't even know why. Like, I have no idea
it
who
was
picked our music or who was in charge of that. But
it was our boy Anthony. Straight. It was purely white boy
well,
playlist.
we drove
I
straight
love
through.
Anthony. I love you. I love you. Don't knock me down if you ever see that. I love you, but it was straight white boy music. But I vibed with it. I vibed with it.
I remember driving through freaking like Arizona and or not Arizona, Alabama, and listening to Rap God like on repeat for like 2 hours. I was like, oh my god, where
Yeah,
like it's 2:30 a.m. and I need to be awake, and like that was what that playlist was for. But
yeah. It was pretty
um,
much just to stay awake as much as possible so we could help our buddy.
yeah,
Because you remember,
how did we even just get on this?
Yo, dead. I don't know, but dead ass. Do you realize like we took a long road trip, and it was one guy that made that drive. Like when we drove
Yeah,
back, like shout out to
you
your
drove for
shout
part
out
of
to
the way, right?
Jarrell. Yeah, with because I had to I had to sit Jarrell down. I was like, listen, man, I love you to death, but you're not taking this full ride back. You
And
are
it was a
not
rental
taking
car.
it. Yeah, it was a rental car. Whose rental car was it? I think it was mine. No,
I don't know.
it was Jarrell's. I
And
don't
we
know.
were hungover.
We were highly hungover.
I don't think
Legal
I've never
legal
drank as much as I did on that
legal to
trip.
drive, but
Oh
we
yeah, we weren't drunk. We were
yeah
fine, but we were definitely hungover.
yeah we
So
were
I
definitely
did not drive, but it's okay.
yeah.
Anyways, I don't know how we even just got on that.
I don't know.
Something else you have to think about here, and honestly, this was the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about all of these different things coming together, all these different channels, all of these different TV shows and series and things like that. You know, right now we pay, what is it, $15 a month for HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery Plus is $7.
Mm-hmm.
This is a
Oh, you
lot
think the
of content.
subscription's gonna go up?
How much are people going to be willing to pay for all of this stuff in the same place? I mean, do you think people are going to want to pay 20 or $30 for Food Channel and Animal Planet and all their HBO Max TV shows and movies? And I mean, it's just, that's a
You know what I
lot.
think? I think the subscription's gonna get high to the point of usual cable. It's gonna piss a lot of people off.
Well, I do think, I don't think
Like
movie
next thing,
theaters are
like
going to go
trust me,
away.
I know, but like next thing you know, trust me, to get a subscription with a company that gives you everything you want to see. Hold up, side note, I'm getting a call from Malaysia.
Malaysia, like the country Malaysia?
Yeah, hello.
Thank you for choosing Marriott Hotels. We would like to inform you.
Hey guys, I just won a night at Marriott Hotels.
You guys heard it live on our show.
Yeah, you heard it live.
Miguel is going to Malaysia and he's
Yep,
staying in a Marriott. I didn't know they even had Marriotts in Malaysia.
neither did I. What were we talking about?
Uh,
Oh, subscriptions. As I
that
was
sounds like
saying,
some shit that would be on Discovery Plus.
right?
Going to Malaysia on a trip. But the price, I mean, I would guess, and I don't know. I don't think if you add all of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
to a streaming service, I mean, HBO Max is already $15. I it would go
Is
to
it
at
really?
least 20. Yeah, it would go to at
Oh,
least 20. I would guess. But you know, you mentioned
no,
cable.
we're gonna hit like I would say within the next decade, we're gonna hit like the like $40 or $50 worth of
It's gonna be your version of cable. I think it's
yep.
gonna movie theaters will not go away. I'm calling that. I stand by. I don't think movie theaters are gonna go away. I think cable is gonna die.
Die.
I think cable
Yeah.
is gonna die off. Um, because I mean, you got to think. I mean, like we only have basic cable, dude. We don't watch cable very much. Like we really don't. Julia does like watching the news, and you know we watch the
You can get
news
that on a
like
streaming
on
service,
Saturday
can't
mornings or
you?
whatever. Yeah, and that's another part of this that we're gonna get to in just a second is what they're gonna do with news stations and sports because
There's
Discovery or
ESPN
Warner
Plus.
Media owns uh, CNN and they own TNT, which is where like basketball is on TNT. There's a whole bunch of
Mhm.
different, you know, sports channels that are a part of that. Disney owns ESPN, so Disney's already got them in the bag. Disney owns ESPN,
Nice. Good
so
job, Mickey.
Disney's got that. They were smart with that one because
Hmm.
that's a big stone right there. That's that red stone. Um, but again, there's still the cheaper version of HBO Max on the way. Um, and he also reiterated that Warner Media wants to use this to push out way more content, whether it be DC, the MonsterVerse. He specifically dropped Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. He dropped their names. Um, and I kind of got excited when I saw that, and I kind of took a step back and I was like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean DCEU because that
It
can be a lot
means
of things. I mean,
yeah.
DC's got their hand in a lot of animated stuff too. I mean, you have like I think the trailer for Batman: The Long Halloween Part 2 just came out.
Yep.
I mean, there's like they have a whole lot of different directions that they can take that. So that doesn't specifically mean um, DCEU stuff. Uh, And I mean, if you look up all the IPs that Warner Brothers owns, I mean, it's practically endless. Uh, with this acquisition, they're going to have more places to dish that stuff out to. Another interesting part of that is Warner Brothers Interactive, which I think Warner Brothers Interactive mainly deals with video games, and animated things and stuff like that. Um, from what I could tell, there's around 11 different companies that are a part of Warner Brothers Interactive,
Yeah.
and he didn't really have a complete answer as to how they're going to fit in the puzzle. Um, I know we had the Harry Potter game coming up. There were the Arkham games, the Batman Arkham games. So I think there's a little bit of question. It wouldn't surprise me if they sold off some of those individual game companies just
Hmm.
because they don't need it. You know what I mean? They don't. It's not going to be a big revenue maker for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be like Food Network or Animal Planet or Discovery or whatever else. Those are going to be big money makers. These game companies are probably not going to be big money makers.
I'm sure they will. There is a, I think place I was when you mentioning about like gaming. There's a lawsuit. There's like a case filing, like a case lawsuit going for PlayStation because what's it called? PlayStation is kind of like monopolizing these games, some
Mm.
games right now.
That's been happening for a while though,
Yeah,
and
like
I think Xbox is guilty of it too.
there's a difference that they're doing.
Um,
Uh, PlayStation's marking it up. I think so.
oh,
Yeah, that's why there's a case file going on right there
my
with them.
brother was telling me something about PS5s and why the stock is so low, like why you can't get your hands on PS5s. We were talking about that, and that's kind of
I
interesting
think they're
too.
I think they're probably intentionally shorting it
You think?
just to make it rare.
Well, I know there were a lot of people that were pissed at how expensive it was. Like how expensive. I mean, shit. You're gonna spend $1,000 by the time you get your controllers and games and stuff you want. I
Yeah,
mean, like
I
that's
say that, and
ridiculous.
I say that, but I just spent $1,000 on obviously my iPhone 12. Like
Yeah, but
it's
that's also a little bit different too, though. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I am fine with waiting a few years for PS5's price to drop because I'm just
Mhm.
not. I don't know. There's not too many
I
games
don't
that
really
I'm like,
game. Yeah, I don't game much anymore. Like I
yeah,
haven't.
like I'll do more this summer, but like Resident Evil Village, I'm definitely gonna buy that this summer, and
Mhm.
that's on PS4. Like all of the games I play are on PS3 and PS4, so like I don't know, I don't really have a desire to get a five yet. Plus that $800 price point. I mean, like I don't know.
It's a tough sell. When we were young, we would just beg our parents. Now we're just like, I don't know if
I
it's
know.
worth it.
Well, I remember, I mean, when PS3 came out, because Resident Evil 5 came out with the PS3. Like when PS3 launched, I think Resident Evil 5 came out like the same day. And we went to Lexington. I went to Lexington with my parents. It was like it took us a day. Like it took us hours to wait to get the PS3, and I bought my PS3, I bought Resident Evil 5, I bought two controllers and all the cords and all the other accessory crap that goes with it, and I spent about $900. And that, like, I saved money, I saved birthday money. Like that was a big deal. That was a big day. Like when I could finally go and pop Resident Evil 5 in that console and play it, that was like one of the coolest memories of my entire childhood. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a pure nut moment,
It really,
wasn't it?
and really, I wasn't even a kid. I was like, I was a teenager. I was like a
Yeah.
young teenager. But I mean, it was a big freaking deal to
Mhm.
me to be able to sit down and play Resident Evil 5 when that came out. So, and now we're
Okay.
at PS5 and it's $800 and it's fine. But you mentioned, news and sports, which is another kind of interesting thing. Um, you know, right now we were talking about cable. Cable can be so expensive because if you look at, you have basic cable, which is just, some news stations, your lower channels, things that are just kind of like necessity.
Yeah.
You don't really get any of the extra stuff like AMC and, which that's a whole other, cable is a whole other world of like bull crap anyways. Um, of who owns what and what you can get and what, if you have Dish or if you have Spectrum or whatever.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
but you can pay for the MLB network, the NFL, the NBA, NHL, you know, but if you're watching live sports, say on TNT, like if you're watching an NBA game on TNT, you have to be there to watch it. Like you can't replay it. If you don't have that MLB channel to watch baseball all day every day, you better see the game unless
yeah.
you can record it with a DVR.
That's it's. I don't know. It's just so wacky when I keep thinking about like all the shit that we needed with cable,
Yeah.
and what like that it's like kind of obsolete now if you think about it.
Hmm.
Like it's crazy to think about it like that.
Well, the reason I bring that up is, same thing with news, which news is a little bit different because of social media,
Hmm.
um, because you can stream news anywhere now. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, you have Facebook News now.
yeah, but they're looking into streaming services, apps for live sports and for news. So like
Yeah,
CNN
that's been
for
there.
MSNBC or what, I don't know which other news stations they own. But what do you think of an app where you go into one app instead of going to live TV? You have your app through AT&T and WarnerMedia and Discovery, where you go to, I don't know, Discovery Sports or whatever it's called, and you can watch your MLB games, you can watch your NHL games, you can watch basketball,
I think
football, whatever.
first off, I hate it whenever I download like a streaming service and it tells me what provider you have. I'm like, bro, I don't. I just buy this shit on
Well,
my
this would be different though because I don't think they're going to ask you for a provider anymore.
good. It's fucking stupid. Cause boy, I don't even know my AT&T password. Let's be honest.
Mm,
Do you? I don't.
I don't know.
So,
My
but I
wife
mean,
probably
like,
does.
that's a good wife, man. You got a good one. But
Yeah.
whenever it comes down like with the whole new stuff becoming streaming service, I mean, yeah, I fully expect that to happen. Like next thing you know, like all these apps of all these news places, like it's gonna start out with like CNN getting their own app, MSNBC, and I'm sure they have one. I'm sure they have it now.
Yeah.
Like to actually do like live stuff. I'm sure they're gonna start doing it. And then I don't know, maybe the big three streaming servers are gonna start merging with them. That's
Right.
kind of like I said, it's kind of how it goes. It's like big fish eats little fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and that's kind of an interesting way to wrap this up because, I mean, what's interesting about it is nothing is changing right now. Nothing
Hmm.
is changing in the immediate future,
Hmm.
but we're living in an increasingly conglomerated world. Disney, AT&T, Apple, like you mentioned a little bit ago, uh, each one of those conglomerates owns so many things and they have their hands in so many different things.
Yep.
You know, the question here is, you know, you're when you decide on whether you want to have Disney Plus or whether you're going to want to have this large Warner Media Discovery, everything in one place. I mean, you're going to be deciding where you want to watch your sports, what movies you want to watch, unless you
Yep.
really bite the bullet and pay for both of them. Uh,
Which people are going to be willing to do.
right.
Like
But I'm
100%.
saying, like, if this really does away with cable, you're going to have to start choosing where based on what movies are available, what TV shows are available, what news is available, what sports are available, what TV channels you like. Do you like Animal Planet? Do you like Food Network? Do you like whatever Disney owns? Do you like whatever Warner Media owns and AT&T owns? I mean, it's saturated. And my big kind of question as we close with this portion is, do you think we're going to reach a point in the near future where it's too much content? Like
No.
it's just too much. I mean, we're on our way to being this like elevated, if we're not there already, this
Mhm.
elevated. I mean, there's so many streaming services and there's so many different apps and it's like nonstop. I mean, I know I felt that way, like especially when the pandemic started. I was like, do we need Netflix? Do we need HBO Max? Do we need Hulu? I mean, it's just there's so many different things. So, I mean, do you think we're moving to a place where there's too much content and it's getting too grouped?
No, I think it's gonna be like how in the restaurant business. You know what I mean? It's like a la carte, whatever the fuck that means.
A la carte?
Yeah, it's
Carte?
yeah.
What the what?
I was trying to
A
sound
la
French.
carte?
That's French, right? That's my country accent
I
right there.
believe so.
But yeah, it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be like you pick what you want. It's a TV like a service provider did that once. What was it? Sling? Yeah, Sling
Mhm.
was like a la carte. And that's pretty much what it's gonna be. Like Sling was kind of ahead of its time. I'm
Yeah.
sure Sling is still around, but it's not as popular. But it's gonna be it's pretty much gonna be like that. It's like you choose what you want to see on your TV. And like for instance, I have a Roku,
Mhm.
and
We have Roku too.
yeah, we like, and if you have a Roku, everything you have right there is pretty much a la carte. Like you download what service or streaming service you want, and it gives you whatever you want, and then you can download other stuff too. That's pretty much what's gonna be like the Roku devices and like Google, whatever the fuck you're all are doing, and what Apple TV, like they're all gonna
Whatever
have
y'all are doing over there at
yeah,
Google.
whatever y'all are doing over there in Google, like those are gonna start. Those products are gonna kill the TV providers like Dish, Spectrum, and AT&T, so to speak. But I mean, AT&T uh, get like they have Roku's, like they're the ones that give Roku's waves and all that stuff. But the whole idea of cable is just gonna go out the window. Like I know we talked about the movie theater, like probably leaving. Like general cable is gonna be the one that's gonna go first, without a
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
Yeah, and do I feel like it's saturated? No, I think
Mm.
it's just. I think it's like you have a shit ton of like you know how you used to catch fireflies in jars? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you got a shit ton of fireflies and you let them go. That's pretty much what it is. It's like the jar is like Dish and Spectrum. And when you open the jar and they all start floating away and they start doing their own things, that's all the networks and streaming service like flowing away. Like there you go, they're on their own. Like that's pretty
Well,
much what's happening. You could see it like all popping out and out now, like when them doing their own streaming services. And you're like, well, now now I can just catch and choose whatever I want. That is
yeah.
a fucking terrible analogy, but I'm
It's
sticking with
okay.
it.
I you brought up the cable thing. I don't think cable companies are just going to go out of business because they own things that these big corporations are going to want. So I think
But
Dish and Spectrum and all that stuff, it's going to get absorbed into Disney's going to buy it, or WarnerMedia is going to buy it, or or I mean AT&T or whoever. I think they're going to get
so like
absorbed.
so like if if you end up going with Dish, you'll get like HBO Max for free or something like that.
No, I think Dish is going to go. I think the Dish name, and I don't mean Dish in general. I just mean X cable provider. I think X cable provider is going to get acquired by one of these bigger corporations, and they're going to get absorbed into that, and their content is going to be available through whatever streaming services that AT&T provides, whether it's this combination of Discovery and HBO Max, or whether it's the two of them separately, or news outlets, sports, whatever. um but I mean, like, I even think about it, like my parents have Netflix, but I can't tell you how many times I've talked to my parents and I'm like, hey, you really need to watch this movie, or you really need to watch this show, and they're like, well, we can't because we don't have Disney Plus, or we don't have HBO Max, or whatever, like whatever the case may be. And it's just like we're getting into a world where if you don't have that,
You're gonna miss
you're not
out.
going to watch it. You're going to miss
Yeah.
out on something, and that's going to be the fight. Is Disney's going to be like, well, we got the MCU and stuff, but they're going to be like, well, we got Harry Potter, or we got blah blah blah, or XYZ. So it's all going to come down to consumer desire and what people want to watch and where they're going to want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's going to come down to.
I agree.
So.
And I don't know. I feel like we just traded one for another. You know what I mean?
Right, and that it kind of does feel that way a little bit. I think this is an ongoing thing, and this is gonna be an ongoing development for the next 2 or 3 years. Because again, they're gauging. They're trying to figure out what's going to be the best business move for them. That's why I don't think anything is going to change right off of the bat.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting, but
We'll figure it out soon. Stay tuned.
it will. God, my allergies have been bothering me. My allergies have been kicking me in the nuts the last week or so.
Yeah, the
So I'm
the CDC really hit it on the nail. They released a mask mandate just in time for like
for allergy
pollen,
season.
for pollen to raw dog us in the face.
Right, second time I've hit my mic. I'm drinking tea with honey in it. No alcohol for me tonight.
No alcohol for my boy Brad. He
No alcohol tonight.
He ran out of the Tango habanero whiskey.
I didn't run out, but I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling tea. So let's talk a couple of movie updates. We have movie updates for Black Panther, the Suicide Squad. I know I sounded like one of those commercials. I smoke up for 40.
That's fucked.
I know. We have some updates for Spider-Man: No Way Home. Let's talk Black Panther.
Okay.
Let's talk Black Panther. So, Martin Freeman, who plays Everett Ross on Black Panther, he had an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and obviously they discussed the sequel to Black Panther. They talked Ryan Coogler and the script that's going around right now. Not leaked, I mean going around, that's in development.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we're still a few years out from Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And there's a lot of questions being raised. Kevin Feige has said that they will not CGI Chadwick Boseman in there to, respect his name and his legacy and what he brought to the character. There's a lot of questions right now, but it was pretty interesting that Martin Freeman had this to say when he sat down for this interview. So he said, I had a Zoom call with Ryan Coogler, the director and co-writer, about 7 or 8 weeks ago, I suppose. He sort of meticulously took me through all of my character's beats in the film. He took me through the film, but incorporated my character's beats. Some of it was very odd, and I think he could see from the reaction on my face to some of the things he was saying. He kept sort of stopping and saying, stay with me, this is going to work. I hope that people will be in for a treat. So that's not really a lot to go off of here. I kind of wanted to use this time, Miguel. What could be very odd about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Because this is a tricky.
Odd, bro.
Yeah.
Their main guy is gone.
I know, but I'm saying,
like, what are they gonna do?
I would imagine this film is going to be pretty emotional and pretty heavy because he's gone, because they have to somehow write him out. They somehow have to bring a new Black Panther. We know that Anthony Mackie is rumored to be a part of this. We know that Sebastian Stan is rumored to be a part of this. This has got to be a big movie, and I think this would be a very serious movie. So the fact that Martin Freeman is saying that it's very odd and that the script is odd and that he was kind of like, whoa, like we're going here, we're going to do this. I'm curious to see what the hell are they going to do with the script? Like, where are they going to take it?
I don't even know at this point because I don't know. It's like because you don't know what's gonna happen. I'm mind boggled right now with it because it's just how can I'm almost certain Kevin Feige didn't know about Chadwick Boseman's element.
I thought he did. I thought he told. I could be wrong. I believe he told the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige and somebody else.
Well, if that's the case,
because he was sick when they filmed Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh yeah, he was sick for a long time.
You got your Black Panther poster behind you.
I do. Do you see me point at it? Yeah, respect.
Yeah, I glanced over your shoulder and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a great movie, and that's what kind of I don't know. I am 100% confident that they will do their best to honor his legacy, but at the same time continue the story so it progresses throughout the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
But that interview makes it sound like they didn't really plan for it. And I'm like, bro, what? Like they should. I'm sure they had a plan, and maybe the plan doesn't seem to fit right with with him.
It makes me think that they have a really big plan and that they have a really thought out plan. It's just I think that plan is going to be something really
It's
different where
just it's
people
just
may
really
not
like
expect it to go.
yeah
Um, I actually saw a few people on Twitter saying that they would love to see, obviously, in the comic books, his sister takes the role. She takes on the role of being Black Panther.
yeah
What's her name? Uh,
Shuri.
Shuri. I don't know why. I knew it was SH something. Um, I was drawing a blank. And obviously Shuri takes on the role.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a few people saying, "What if Bucky takes on the role and becomes Black Panther?"
Fuck
But I
no.
don't. I don't think that's. I think Bucky's character needs to stay where Bucky's character is. I think his
He's the White
character
Wolf.
development. I know. I think his character development was too good in
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier to then like
Yeah.
veer off and go somewhere different.
Yeah.
I
There was
I
a
do think that Shuri is going to become Black Panther. I think that's pretty
I think
safe to say.
how can I put this? Obvious so like they've said in interviews and in articles that it's gonna talk about like the inner workings of Wakanda for sure. Like it's
Yes.
going to. So like I saw this theory on TikTok. Shout out because Gen Z, and he was
Oh my
talking
god.
about like yeah, and this guy was talking about which I'll find your name and if I remember your name I'll give a shout out. But he was talking about how a possible theory, and I could see it, like because I could see M'Baku becoming the inter intermediate whatever the fuck that word is Black Panther, and obviously it shows that he has the attributes to be a great warrior, but not the attributes to be a great leader for Wakanda.
Mm,
And it shows to be a big test to him, which is where Shuri comes in and obviously takes the mantle, because it would make sense because whenever T'Challa died and Black Panther, they went straight to M'Baku to give him the herb, saying like, "Hey, I need you to become the Black Panther to protect us from Killmonger." And I think that's probably the storyline that they're probably going to go with. I mean, they kind of
yeah.
have to, otherwise, it's like you're pretty much just retconning M'Baku throughout the storyline, because he has to have a pivotal moment in this story, because he had a huge role. He has a huge role in Wakanda. He has one of the top tribes in that area. So it would make sense for him to take the mantle of Black Panther, but because of his inability to actually be like a successful leader, he won't be able to hold the mantle. It would be kind of like Falcon and Winter Soldier with what's his name? What I forgot what his name was.
Sam?
No, that like the U.S. agent.
John Walker.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, forgot his name. It'll kind of be the same situation as like John Walker, but obviously not with like the systematic racism undertones. But
Yeah.
it'll be kind of like that. Like M'Baku like gets the mantle, but he realizes how tough it is, and it ends up going to Shuri. I could see that.
Yeah. My thoughts on this are, if you're gonna have Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan in the film, I would like to see, obviously I'm not even. I've tried to think of ways that they could write Chadwick Boseman out, um, and still do justice to him and his legacy and his character, while also doing justice for the story and having that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I would like to see a film of, there's been this talk really since Civil War about opening Wakanda and finally showing Wakanda to the outside world and letting people in to see, and kind of being a part of the world where they've been so secretive the whole time. And like if you remember in Infinity War, when Okoye says to T'Challa, when she says like she was like, I didn't, when we talked about opening Wakanda to the rest of the world, I didn't think you meant this. And he was like, well, what did you mean? And she was like, well, maybe a Starbucks, or you know what I mean, when she said that.
Yeah.
But I would like to see, maybe they do open Wakanda for the rest of the world to see, and because T'Challa is gone, maybe they're fighting over who's going to be the next Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's kind of in shambles, and maybe things are not going well in Wakanda. And the film is not only about the struggles in Wakanda post T'Challa, post T'Chaka, but also about who's going to be the next Black Panther, and the world kind of watching Wakanda struggle and kind of go through this hard time. And just like you said, maybe it does, the mantle of Black Panther does go to a few people and they realize how difficult it is. And then, for the main villain at the end, it really becomes Shuri, and she takes on the mantle. And there could even be a little bit of guidance from Anthony Mackie, since he just went through that in becoming Captain America.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, he maybe he's kind of a mentor figure to Shuri, or even Bucky, just because they just went through this whole big, they're worthy of taking on the mantle of being a hero. And like they can be, you can have a Black Captain America. Bucky can be a hero. He doesn't have to be stained by what he was as the Winter Soldier. I would like to see a film that kind of it builds on the whole opening Wakanda to the world, because that's been a theme that we've had since Civil War. Uh,
Mhm.
but while kind of again tackling the issue of who is the next Black Panther going to be, I would guess, my assumption is that that's going to be a big part of the next movie.
Yeah, I could see that. But they also said that Namor was going to be the antagonist. So I'm interested to see how he
Namor is
play.
the antagonist.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, because
hmm.
yeah, the Submariner, whatever the fuck the name is. Like he's supposed to be like kind of an antagonist in that movie.
Mm.
So it would be interesting to see how he plays a part in it. I don't know. That's the thing. Like Wakanda Forever, it's just you can't make any theories whatsoever because there's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. I mean that
Because
those
not only
we're spitballing with
yeah,
all the shit we just said.
yeah, guys, like not only is like Wakanda Forever, like they haven't said any like specific information about it. Also, the main actor passed away, so like it's like nobody knows what can happen in that movie, and
Yeah.
it'll be one of the top movies to watch in this phase, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, and it's going to be a very interesting one, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of gaps to fill in. There's a whole lot of different directions, and a whole lot of different ways that this story can play out. So I want to know how this next chapter is going to continue without Chadwick, but also paying homage to Chadwick and doing his character and him justice. So,
Wakanda Forever, man.
Wakanda forever. But all right, you want to go MCU or do you want to go DC?
Let's continue with MCU
All right,
because we
let's.
we are MCU simps.
We are MCU Sims. Uh, Spider-Man No Way Home update. This is not really a big update.
Hmm.
When I say update, I just, again, we're never going to break any news here. We're never going to be the people. I'm not going to claim to break news, and I'm not going to make up random bullshit stories just to get views. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
We just talk about shit I find on the internet that I find on trusted news sources. Not, not we got this covered.
Yeah.
Not to throw any shade at We Got This Covered, but I will never pull a source from We Got This Covered or a story from We Got This Covered.
Oh, because it has a bunch of like it's like The Onion, but for like movies.
Well, it's not even like The Onion. They just like it's just all their stories are like my brother's dad's cousin's sister's aunt's uncle's friend who saw this movie said that the trailer's gonna drop tomorrow. And they come
Because
up
we
with a
got this
whole bunch
covered.
of different bullshit stories like that. And then they finally get one right and they're like, well, the same person that told us this told us this. And none of their stuff is stupid.
Big, big accusations.
It is. Everybody
I
knows it.
don't.
If you're in the movie community, you know this.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
telling you anything you don't know. But anyway, Spider-Man No Way Home. I saw this on IMDb actually. If you go to IMDb and you type in Spider-Man No Way Home and you look at the official crew, there is someone named, and I'm going to get this shit wrong. I,
You got this.
you give it a shot. You try it.
What's the name?
It's on. Are you not looking at the itinerary? You're not looking at our notes that I type, that I take all the time to type this out for you?
I'm so sorry.
I'm kidding.
Let me see.
Uh,
Well, okay, I got the name. Wait,
Askia Wan
someone
Ling
name.
Jacob.
Where did Jacob come from?
I don't know. She's
Okay.
probably married to. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, probably.
I
Okay,
don't
I
know.
can see that.
But this awesome costume designer, she is listed as the personal costumer for Ms. Dunst.
Who the fuck is Miss Dunst?
Kirsten Dunst.
Oh,
Oh my god. Kirsten Dunst. So does this confirm Kirsten Dunst's involvement with Spider-Man No Way Home? Hopefully.
maybe. Is she in other projects that were in Spider-Man, in the MCU Spider-Man?
No.
Okay, then confirmed. Guys, we're just literally picking up breadcrumbs and trying to
We really are.
piece together
That's
a
how the whole
loaf.
Spider-Man No Way Home thing is felt. It feels like small breadcrumbs that
Yeah.
just get like we're just like throwing pieces together, trying to like make something out of it. And you know, I've said it once, and I'll say it again. If Toby and Andrew are not in this movie, it is going to be the biggest disappointment I think of any movie I've ever been to in my life. Like it will be. There's too many like you just said, we have picked up breadcrumbs, but there are too many breadcrumbs that have like started to make something
Hmm.
that it just if
It's
they're
like,
not in the movie, it's not going to make any sense.
yeah, I agree. It's like I
Um,
can't see a fitting story about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Obviously, we can, but my fan service heart says otherwise.
well, and I don't want to see a Spider Verse if it's just villains coming through. Like obviously Alfred Molina has been confirmed. He is
Mhm.
talked about playing Doc Ock in this movie. Jamie Foxx's Electro has been confirmed. Willem Dafoe has been rumored. Thomas Hayden Church has been rumored. There have been so many different villains from Tobey Maguire's Raimi trilogy plus the Amazing Spider-Man films with Andrew Garfield. Like there's so many different breadcrumbs that are the stars are aligning in such a weird way for this. Like if Toby and Andrew aren't in it, it's not gonna make any sense. It's not gonna there's not gonna be any weight to it.
Mhm.
I also saw on the I believe it's the Dutch Sony account and one of the foreign Disney accounts. They have changed their Twitter banner to the Spider-Man No Way Home logo. So hopefully marketing campaign's going to get rolling out for that pretty soon. Maybe we'll get a trailer, maybe we'll get a new poster, something like that.
Give me,
They're really keeping it under
give
wraps
me
right
a
now.
teaser for a trailer.
I know.
Like honestly, I don't care
And
about a poster.
I'll tell you what, like with Halloween Kills, I don't want to know. I'm more like don't show me as much. I'd rather experience it in the movie theater. This is different. The cat is out of the bag. Like if you don't show what people want to see, like if this just looks like another Spider-Man movie in this trailer, I'm gonna be like, hmm. If I see a small little fart glimpse of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in this trailer,
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump out of my roof. Like I'm gonna feel great inside because of this trailer. So I think they need to just go ahead and go balls to the wall and show it and be like, hey, MCU Spider Verse, it's happening. You saw it here first, and they need to just go ahead and do it.
yeah, because this thing would blow up. Obviously, Obviously, it's gonna blow up. But the fact is like it'll blow up even more if they like actually
Mm-hmm.
confirm it. Like,
Yeah,
how can I put this? I don't know. Maybe they're taking lessons from like Endgame because even though Endgame was like so under wraps, we kind of already knew what was gonna happen.
right.
That whole time heist thing, like we kind of knew that was gonna happen. Like from the
Well, and if you think back to the first Endgame trailer, that first Endgame trailer, blah, 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 didn't
didn't
show
give a
shit.
shit.
It didn't show anything. The second Endgame trailer, it was kind of like, oh yeah, like I see where this, like they're gonna time travel,
Hmm.
like that's what I mean. It was like it didn't say it, but it was kind of like, okay, what else are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, duh. So I don't need to see Toby and Andrew kicking ass with Tom Holland in the trailer. I just need to see them for a split second and be like, hey, this is it. It's happening. Like this, like you've thought about it. We've given you all the breadcrumbs. It's happening. It's real. It's real and it's happening. So I think they need to just go ahead and bite the bullet and do it.
Yes,
So
please do. Like that's
again,
awesome.
leave some ambiguity. Don't show everything, but show something. Show a little bit of a bone. Throw a milk bone and not one of them big things that you buy at PetSmart like this. Like just throw milk bone. That's all we need. That's all we need to get us hyped up for Spider-Man No Way Home. More than we already are. I'm hyped for this. It's one of my most anticipated movies of the year. So
Yeah, I agree.
So let's move on to DC a little bit before we wrap up here. Uh, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah.
It got an official R rating for strong violence and gore and language and sexual references and drug use and graphic nudity. This movie sounds badass to the bone.
This movie's gonna rock.
I think it's gonna rock, and I kind of think it's gonna blow people's pants off.
Well, I mean,
really do.
you saw from the trailer, like I knew it was gonna be R rated. Cause you
Oh
saw
yeah,
when King Shark just ripped that soldier in half. I was like, that's rated R.
well, it's definitely. I mean, we knew it was going to be R rated, but you know, this sounds like it is going to be balls to the freaking wall R rated. Like, I mean, when we start talking about graphic nudity, we're getting into some.
You think they're probably talking about like the rat?
I'm thinking the Rat or King Shark.
Yeah,
I'm thinking King Shark, and it's going to be like,
full
you know what
on
I
King
mean?
Shark dick.
That's what I'm thinking.
Full
But
full on King Shark dick,
right.
just straight out the gutter.
Uh,
They don't even have those extremities.
Joel Kinnaman, who plays Rick Flag, he had this to say. He said, "For me, it was like I did my first comedy, but it's like heavily R-rated. It was a real learning experience for me too because I had never done a comedy in that way before. So I asked James to work with me and teach me this shit. And yeah, we had so much fun doing it. This movie is going to be a monster. Honestly, even if I'm in it, or even though I'm in it, I can't wait to see it as a fan. It just sounds like it's going to be so much fun." You know,
Yeah,
it's going to be a good time. And you know, especially since I feel like we've gotten dicked with the DCEU and the Snyderverse and just everything. I'm not going to beat that dead horse anymore, except we are because we're going to talk about it in a few minutes. It's just I'm so excited to see this film. I think this is going to be a breath of fresh air for the DCEU. I really do.
I agree, and it would be a nice thing for DC to have because honestly, yeah, they are going through some hot shit right now.
Yeah. He also teased multiple post-credit scenes in the film.
I love how. Sorry, this is a side note. I love how James Gunn's Suicide Squad poster is reminiscent of like Thor's like Ragnarok thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I think it'd be.
I do.
I'm excited.
And honestly, I think this could be a Thor Ragnarok situation where it exceeds everybody's expectations. I mean, do you
Yeah,
remember when
because
Thor Ragnarok came out and people were like losing their shit over how good it was? Because it was a great movie. It's like, I
because
mean, it's one of the better
Dark
MCU
World
movies.
sucked.
Right. And actually, you know, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, I think I'm going to come out and say it. I think it's my favorite DCEU movie. Besides the Snyderverse. Obviously, I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is my favorite DCEU movie. But of the canon DCEU, I really think that David Ayer's Suicide Squad is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a solid movie. I didn't like Joker. I didn't like Joker's makeup and the way that creatively the Joker was done. I think what's his name did a really good job with him. I think the tattoos and all of that stuff could have been if we could have gotten the Joker that we got in Zack Snyder's Justice League and Suicide Squad, dude, that movie would have been 10 times better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what all of the post-credit scenes are going to be at the end of the film. And I mean, James Gunn has said everybody dies. Like literally like almost every single character dies in this movie. So who's going to be left standing at the end? Obviously Harley. Obviously probably Rick Flag.
I'm gonna say this right now. The first, like, definitely the ones to go is gonna be like Michael Rooker's
Oh yeah,
actor. I'm gonna
Peacemaker's
say,
gonna go.
oh god, I hope not. Peacemaker sounds fun as
Actually,
hell.
no, Peacemaker probably won't go because they're doing a Peacemaker TV series with John Cena.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're
That's
doing a
gonna be
series
great.
for Peacemaker. I don't think. Yeah, maybe he won't die.
I'm looking at the cast list right now. I'm just trying to figure out. Thinker definitely is gonna
He
die.
said, "If I was on a beach full of dicks," or whatever he said.
Yeah,
You
he
remember in
said
the
that.
trailer? Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, really? Wow. John Cena really that came out of his mouth.
yeah. Like John Cena
Also,
actually just said that.
Will Smith is still on this cast list. You want to explain that?
Are you on IMDb?
I'm on Google. Yeah,
Interesting.
on Google, Will
I don't
Smith is
think
still
that's
on the
accurate.
cast.
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Just saying. Just saying.
Hmm.
It'll be interesting.
Interesting. So there's our superhero updates, or in this case, our supervillain updates for this episode.
Fair. You know how I love how comic
Suicide
accurate it
Squad.
is.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty comic accurate, which is
Like the
dope.
like the costumes. I mean, like the costumes are pretty comic accurate. Like
Yeah,
Peacemaker's costume, I
yeah,
fucking love it.
yeah,
He looks so dumb, but I love it
yeah.
at the same time.
For sure, for sure. Uh, couple more stories before we wrap up here.
Okay.
You want to go new project for Paramount, or you want to go Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder?
Fuck it. Let's just beat the dead horse.
Let's beat the dead horse. All right. Warner Brothers literally hates Zack Snyder.
Okay. Tell me why.
Okay.
What's new?
I have tried to give them the benefit of the doubt ever since this whole Restore the Snyderverse thing began. And again, people who were making threats against them, people who were being hateful, nasty, and mean to them, you suck. You don't need to do that. Like you need to make a better life decision and not hate on these people. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to do their job. They're doing what they think is right. Even if us fans don't agree with it, don't like it, they probably don't care, and that they have every right to not care. I wouldn't care either.
Yeah.
But it's still disappointing.
That being said, yes.
Do you remember seeing 300?
I fucking love 300 and 300 Rise of an Empire.
I haven't
Both
even
of
seen
those-
Rise of an Empire, to
Both
be
of
honest.
those just slaps.
Yeah. I remember, I need to give that a rewatch. I remember watching 300. I went and saw it in the movie theater. I think we were still living in Florida when that came out. I went and saw 300 in the movie theater. I didn't like it, and I don't know, those pure medieval, and I know that's not really medieval, but anything medieval or period pieces like this, or like Lord of the Rings, things like that, The Hobbit, I can't do it. I can't get into it. I don't know why. I've never been a Game of Thrones fan. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan.
You hate movies that don't have guns.
I
Fucking
just don't.
replace.
It's not me. I've never been into them.
So you
But
hate Harry Potter?
no, I do love
That
Harry
is-
Potter. Harry
okay.
Potter is awesome.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for 300 and for what Zack Snyder did. I know it was a really big film. Gerard Butler, it's one of his most iconic roles.
Mhm.
Zack Snyder did a really good job directing that movie. The movie looks good. It sounds good. The script is good. I should give that a rewatch. I really
That
should.
was slow motion city. It was like all
Yeah.
slow motion, like half even talking was like slow
Yeah.
motion.
And it's funny because Zack Snyder has even said, he was like, everybody knows me as like the slow-mo guy. And he said, I don't even really like slow motion that much. Like it just, he said, I don't know. He was like, if you combined all my movies and like got the percentage, he was like, it's probably like less than 1% of my movies are slow motion, but
That's a
whatever.
whole ass lie. Oh wait,
There was a lot of it in Justice League too. Yeah.
There was so many literally slow motion of people looking up. I was like, okay, come on, guys, come on, Zach, you know better.
Yeah.
But it made sense in 300 because I mean that was like it was like all action, like 100%
Right.
action. It was like straight up battle after battle, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But the whole slow motion of people just looking up, I was like, come on, Zach.
Yeah.
That's the reason why it's 4 hours long, because like an hour of
Right.
it's slow motion.
Well, So Zack Snyder revealed that he wrote a third and final installment for the 300 franchise titled Blood and Ashes. Um, but Warner Brothers wanted nothing to do with it. Here's what he had to say about it. He said, I just couldn't really get my teeth into it. Over the pandemic, I had to deal with Warner Brothers, and I wrote what was essentially going to be the final chapter in 300. But when I sat down to write it, I actually wrote a much different movie. I was writing about Alexander the Great, and it just turned into a movie about the relationship between Hephaestion and Alexander. It turned out to be a love story, so it really didn't fit as the third movie. The concept came out really great. It's called Blood and Ashes. It's a beautiful love story, really, with warfare. I would love to do it, but Warner Brothers said no. You know, they're not huge fans of mine. It is what it is. And I mean, even he knows. Like, everybody knows at this point. Um, I just. Why are they so anti Zack Snyder? Like,
I don't know.
you know,
I don't
again,
know.
I don't hate Warner Brothers at all. I really don't. I don't hate the people making these decisions. I disagree with them. But I don't hate them for it. I don't understand. Like for me, I think Zack Snyder is an incredible filmmaker. I really like his projects. I really like what he did with Justice League. I like his movies, and I think, you know, he seems like somebody who wants the creative process to be collaborative. You know, he enjoys working with people. I think, you know, he's even said a million times, like he said, I like my movie sets to feel like a family and to feel like everybody's contributing and everybody matters and everybody's got a piece of it and a part of it, you know. And I feel like then you have other directors who are just like, it's my way or the highway. And I don't, something had to have happened with Zach and Warner Brothers behind the scenes that has made them so cold and so uh, just against what he has to say and what he wants to do.
Yo, I swear this is gonna be like it's gonna be like a mini series where they talk about like WarnerMedia and Zack Snyder. Like later on in the future, we're gonna like find out what happened and like in a full series,
Yeah,
because this is weird. Like no one knows what's happened. Like why would WarnerMedia be upset with him and what happened to him during that time with his daughter passing away?
right.
Like what is where's the animosity? That's what I'm wondering. Like where is that coming from?
Yeah, and
Where is the tension coming from? Where is all of this backlash that Zack Snyder is getting with Warner Media? Like it makes no sense, to be honest. Guys, if you know what I'm talking, if you guys know like the answer, please just let me know, because
well,
I
I
don't
don't
know
think
shit.
anybody knows the answer. I mean, for what it's worth, you know, again, I'm not a medieval period piece fantasy kind of guy, but this concept sounds interesting. I mean, it's, you know, it's showing the relationship between two people and how this blood and warfare affects that. Um, I think it sounds like an interesting plot line and an interesting way to tie up the 300 series. Um,
Yeah, because it's kind of left on like an open note, pretty much.
Right. And, you know, Zack Snyder, he added that he said it was so cool to do Justice League and that was fun and everything, but Warner Brothers still tortured me the whole time. For whatever reason, they can't help it. I don't know why I'm such an effing pain in their ass, because I'm not trying to be, honestly. So, like, I don't know. I could be wrong. You know, I really could be, but it doesn't seem like Zack Snyder ever wanted to be on their bad side. It doesn't seem like he ever did anything to intentionally like hurt them or to intentionally rub them the wrong way. I wonder what happened that rubbed them the. You know, you can have creative differences and you can have creative opinions that differ from somebody,
Yeah,
but the way he's been treated and the way this whole thing has gone down, it just seems very.
sus.
It seems like an overreaction. Like what? It's just it's the whole thing has been very cold,
Hmm.
and I think it's made fans of DC and fans of these properties that, you know, Zack Snyder wanted to have a hand in. It just makes them kind of curious. So I would love to know what happened, and if there's something behind the scenes that we don't know and that we would need to understand before we kind of form our opinion, then so be it. I don't hate Warner Brothers. I think Warner Brothers does a lot of really amazing films. They do a lot of really amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Warner Brothers fan, actually. I just don't understand. I don't understand why this is the way it. Why are you the way you are?
We want to understand.
We do. We want to understand and we don't. But that's all we have to say about that.
Yeah, we'll leave it there until
We
next
will
week.
leave it there. No, God, I hope not. I'm so sick of beating this dead horse. But I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting, the whole blood and ashes concept. So to round us out, to finish out our evening, we're gonna dabble in the horror world a little bit.
Mm.
We gonna dabble in the horror world. Paramount Plus, which I don't have Paramount Plus. I first saw this on Bloody Disgusting. I wasn't even aware that there was going to be a new chapter in Pet Sematary. Have you seen Pet Sematary?
I've seen the new one, but
Yeah,
it's not my cup of tea. It's a weird
it's Stephen King, so of course it's
yeah.
strange. I liked the new one. I actually think I liked the original a little bit better. The original is a little bit creepier. But Jeff Bueller, who wrote the 2019 remake, is writing a new adaptation for Paramount Plus. Lindsay Beer is co-writing; she's directing the project, and a lot of people were like, "It's a prequel." There were a lot of reports early on that said this thing is a prequel. They're doing a prequel to Pet Sematary, which first let me say, I don't know how would you do a prequel to Pet Sematary? I mean, I don't, I get that you can have different sequels. Uh, you know, Obviously he wrote a sequel to The Shining with Doctor Sleep. There are a few properties that Stephen King has where you can write a prequel or you can write a sequel. But Pet Sematary is one that I don't really get where you would go. And it seems like the plot's direction and where the story is going is very ambiguous right now. So Deadline had originally reported and said, even though early sources said that this would be a prequel, sources now say the plot's direction is still being figured out and a prequel is not guaranteed at this time. So I guess it could be a sequel. I don't think they would do a remake because that 2019 remake is too fresh. It's not.
Yeah.
It's hasn't been out for very long. And again,
How
I
can
liked it. I thought it was good, but it wasn't. It wasn't quite as good as the original.
yeah. Trying to figure out who I saw that with, but I know I saw it in the movie theaters, and
I
I
don't.
thought it
I
was
didn't
just
see it
really
with
odd.
you because I saw that with. I think just Julia and I went and saw that together. I don't think I saw it with you. I don't know if you were with us or not.
I think we did.
Yeah,
I remember
maybe you
being
were.
tagged.
I don't
I
know.
remember being tagged in your shit on Facebook.
I don't remember. Maybe you were.
Bradley is at the Richmond Cinemark, and it'll show the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I don't. I know we're kind of living in the world of doing prequels or sequels to the original. Look at what they're doing with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. Scream is getting a sequel to the original. There's a whole bunch of different franchises that are getting horror franchises specifically that are getting sequels directly based on the original. They're doing away with all the other sequels that came in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah. So like you have Halloween with Michael Myers, you have Scream, and then you also have Texas Chainsaw Massacre with
Yep, Texas Chainsaw is another one, which we've
with
done a few videos about that too. Leatherface.
Leatherface. Yeah. Oh, look, I remember the name.
I know you're gonna get shit again for Miguel got shit on one of our other videos for not remembering Leatherface's name.
What did I call him? I called him Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yeah.
guy. And guys, look, I'll say it again. Look, I literally hated horror movies when I was young, so I didn't grow up with it like Brad. Again, when I was renting movies at the Blockbuster, I would literally run past a horror movie with my eyes like this. Like I hated horror movies. I love them now, and I like catching up with some of them
I'm
now.
slowly converting him.
Yeah, he's slowly converting me. So apologies if I forgot his fucking name. I love you, whoever the fuck said that. But yeah, that was a gut punch
Yeah,
right there.
dude, we had a good laugh out of that. I'm glad he commented that because I read it and I was at work and I saw it on my phone and I started cracking up. It was hilarious.
Yeah, my bad, guys. I'll just say that I'll remember his name.
The Texas Chainsaw guy. So my big question here is, do we need another Pet Cemetery film? Like, I know they've done a sequel, but my thought is, where are you going to go? Like, the first film does a good job of keeping it kind of ambiguous. Um, you know,
In
when
my
when he
opinion,
when he
ambiguous is
realizes,
good with these horror movies. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like I like to keep it a mystery still.
yeah,
But with Pet Cemetery, whenever at the end of Pet Cemetery, it's like it's kind of left up to like kind of interpretation, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like
yeah,
I'm okay with that. It kind of, but and whenever you make a sequel, it's like, well, you're kind of like throwing it out the window now.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, when he first buries Church and Church comes back, uh, it's kind of like, holy shit, what is going on right now? And then it's like his descent into kind of like going crazy. And obviously when something comes back after you bury it in the Pet Cemetery, it's kind of like, it's like an evil version of itself. um and there's kind of a level of ambiguity and mystery behind that, because you're kind of like,
Yeah, why is that happening?
what?
Why? What is?
So what I don't want them to do, if they want to tell another story and play around in that world, cool, but I don't want to see them explain the mystery behind the Pet Cemetery and why they come back and why it. I think if you have an MCU movie, it's okay to, you have to explain, you have to fill in the gaps, but especially for horror movies, you don't need to know every single reason why. You don't need to fill in every single gap. It's okay to have a little bit of ambiguity and mystery behind something.
Yeah, like a scary villain is like someone that you don't know what their intentions are, so you can't really bargain with them. Like you said
Right.
with Michael Myers, is like no one like okay, his was kind of explained, but like if you would have kept it unexplained, it would have made him way more scary.
Well, and I mean, especially with this new timeline, obviously in Rob Zombies, it kind of explained things. We had the Cult of Thorn stuff and H6 and like where it went, which you have no idea what I'm even talking about, because again, Miguel's not caught up on all the Halloween movies, which I'm going to change that, and we're going to have a great time in our pants.
Yeah.
But you know, with this main timeline, I mean, if you look at Michael, there's no motive to why he does what he does. And there's also, he rides that supernatural line. Is he human or is he not? Is he human or is he not?
Mm-hmm.
Because of how much he can take. And the ambiguity of that, and the fact that that's a mystery and you don't know, like, how did he survive the first night, let alone being burned alive in a house, being shot, being stabbed? How is he surviving all of this? And again, the same thing with the Pet
Getting his
Cemetery.
ass kicked by
Jamie Lee Curtis.
no, what's his name? What's his name? Jesus, what's his name? The rapper.
Here we go again.
Yeah, what's his? I forgot his name.
LL Cool J or
Jesus,
Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes.
Oh my
I
God.
saw a clip of it. I wanted
From
to like watch the
Resurrection,
movie. Yeah, I wanted to watch the whole movie, but whenever you
my
kept
least
talking
favorite
about it,
movie in
I
the
was like,
franchise.
I need to watch it. And by far hilarious as hell. What did he say? He said Happy Halloween, bitch. And I was
No,
like,
he went.
yes.
He goes, trick or treat, motherfucker. That's what he says, and then he like spin kicks him off into. I mean, it's just that is the worst movie in the entire franchise. Like,
Yeah,
if you're
but
a hardcore
it's
Halloween fan, like, that's one poster I don't have. I don't have a Resurrection poster, but it's okay.
it was still a great moment for you to watch.
It's
That
my
movie's
least favorite in the franchise, but so
I'm
be
sure
it.
the movie sucks, but that
But
scene
I
right
mean,
there.
all of that to say, I don't think they need to go back and explain the Pet Cemetery and explain why everything is the way it is. Just leave it alone. Like, keep it ambiguous, keep it a mystery, keep it weird and strange and crazy, which is the world that Stephen King lives in. And I think
Mhm.
that's part of the reason that Stephen King's novels and his films are so good. It's because there is a level of ambiguity to it. It doesn't make sense. It seems weird and strange, and that makes it scary. I think things are scarier when you don't understand it. If you explain every single little thing, it's kind of like, well, your brain starts to formulate like, well, how do I get around this? How do I defeat this character? How do I get around this? How do I you start to rationalize. And when you have a horror movie and when you're trying to scare people, you don't want them to rationalize, you want to catch them off guard, you want them to feel fear. And if you
Yeah,
explain it, then
it goes out the window.
The fear goes
Michael
out the
Myers.
window. There's no ambiguity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for a Pet Sematary project, but I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't have Paramount Plus, so I probably won't be watching it unless it goes theatrical or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope they don't explain too much and go in some weird place that they
What
don't need
what
to
I'm
go.
getting, yeah, what I'm getting is like you as a horror fan, it's like you're excited for the movie, but you also don't want that explanation because it takes
Yeah.
away from the horror aspect.
Yeah, you don't need the explanation. It's
Yeah.
not needed. It's not essential to the storyline. So I mean, guys, let us know. What do you think? Do you think we need another Pet Sematary film or not? Do you think they should just leave the franchise alone as it is? Because again, I believe this will be tied into the original film, not the 2019 remake, not the original sequel, the original film itself only, exclusively. So
We'll find out.
we
I
will
th-
find out,
I
and it'll
think
be an
that's
interesting
interesting.
one.
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting how all these horror movies are making sequels to the original, and they're just throwing all of these other ones out the window, which makes sense. When I think
Well,
about it, it kind of makes sense because all the sequels from all these other horror movies, which by the way, you horror fans, you love them so much. Like you love all of these horror franchises, and then you have like all of these like really shitty like sequels. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch any of them, but it's kind of interesting how like it's throwing away all of those sequels throughout the
yeah.
60s, 70s, and 80s.
Well, I think we live in a world again where people are trying to rationalize it and people are trying to modernize it a little bit, and they went so buku crazy
Hmm.
with the directions that some of these stories went. You almost have to kind of reel it in a little bit in order to keep it real, to have kind of a realism approach on it. You
Hmm.
have to reel it in just because it's been so kind of wild and crazy.
Yeah.
And I think Scream will be a sequel. I don't think Scream is a reboot of, it's going to be a direct sequel to the original. I think it's now it's just called Scream, just like Halloween 28. We call it Halloween 2018. But it's Halloween. The title was just Halloween. They just called it Halloween. This is going to be called Scream the same way that the original was called Scream in 1995 or 6 or whenever that came out. But it'll be interesting. The horror fan in me is excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
So, but guys, that is going to do it for us for this week's episode of Let's Talk Movie News. We talked about quite a few different things. What do you think of the whole WarnerMedia Discovery merger? What do you think of the new horror news we got? How about our superhero news? Are you excited for the Suicide Squad? What are your expectations and your thoughts for Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Spider-Man No Way Home? Thank you so much for taking the time out of your Friday evening to hang out with us. Next week on episode 22 of Let's Talk Movies, we're reviewing Spiral from the Book of Saw, and we are reviewing Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, and that is going to be a sexual time. So, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Talk the Movies. We hope that everything is great in your world. Stay safe, and we'll see you.
Peace.